What is up, YouTube? This is BW368 coming at you with a bit of a update on how my edymion deck did and what I am choosing to try and play for the upcoming format. Basically, from what I've learned for the past couple of weeks of playing edymion, it's a fun deck to play. Don't get me wrong. The main issues that the deck runs into is definitely consistency and basically the recoverability after first couple of plays. Again, you can run all the different synergy engines and whatnot. Basically, if you open with Servant, another Pendulum, and the Edymion Tower, you can technically OTK your opponent, but it's the fact of hitting those pieces all at once is very rare to happen. And overall, unfortunately, the deck just doesn't have the consistency it needs in order to be able to OTK basically every single turn. And against decks like Salamangreats, Orcus, and stuff like that, basically, unless you open where you can get a very stable board with 3 negates and whatnot, the deck just doesn't compare to a lot of decks nowadays. And again, with like Salamangreats running around, having their recursion ability and everything else from the grave, getting rage, getting their counter trap and whatnot, the deck's okay. It's fun. It's just very hard to find a very good build for consistency. Hence why I'm switching back over to my Ritual Beast deck. And I have made a few different tech choices for the deck in order for it to be a little bit more, not just consistent, but to really hurt other decks in this format. Because a lot of things in today's format, again, recur from the graveyard. So Orcus, basically, they need to have all their monsters in grave in order to be able to do stuff. And Salamangreat's basically the same thing, especially with like Spinny and Balinks and stuff like that. So I feel like this deck will be a lot more stable. Plus the fact of running back row removal as well definitely helps out with the deck. Because again, such as Edymion, it doesn't run back row protection. So you either OTK your opponent, get a big enough board with negates, or the deck just dies. Whereas with Ritual Beasts, at least the version I'm playing, there's plenty of removal and plenty of stalling out against my opponents from being able to overwhelm me on their board. So let's get right into the deck profile and show you how I'm playing it this time. So obviously, the first 6 you're obviously going to be playing is Elder and Winda. Winda being the brand new, one of the newer cards that the deck came out with, definitely helps the deck with some of their consistency issues. When she's destroyed, basically special summon a monster from your main deck or your extra deck in order to basically, again, you can get like Gaia Pelio out and basically just stall out your opponent for a little while. And Elder obviously gives you that extra normal summon, which the deck desperately needs in order to be able to do some crazy plays as well. So obviously 3 and 3, and the best thing with Winda also is that not only is she a tamer, but she's also a spiritual beast. So she can fulfill both requirements when you're trying to get out your like Ulti Kenhawk and whatnot. So definitely like you need to run 3 of each of these. I then play 2 Wen, because again a lot of stuff is banished. So if you do get to banished, normal summon, grab something from your banished pile, and continue on with your plays from there. And then I only play the 1 Lara. I was running originally the 1 Ritual Beast Pendulum monster, but it just dead draws very easily. And again, if a lot of my stuff is not going to be in the grave, it's going to be banished. So running her and the other one doesn't really make too much sense nowadays, especially with, again, if you open with D-Fissure or Macrocosmos, it doesn't make sense to play 2 graveyard recursions. Then obviously you go into your actual Ritual Beasts, or your Spiritual Beasts, I should say. Canahawk, your Gold Sark with legs. Rampangu, he allows basically for you to, in a way, fill up your graveyard, but again, that's rarely going to happen. He just basically reloads your banished pile for your Canahawk plays. And the nice thing now with not just your with the new Link monster, but that's a psychic, so you can send a psychic to your grave. But also with your Gaia Pelio, is basically a psychic as well, so it does the same thing. So you can banish Sky Pelio or the Link monster, and you can put a psychic into your grave to thin out your deck in a way. A lot of people only run one. I run two of the Apelio because, again, not only is his effect a quick effect, so basically, like in a way, you can end phase on your opponent's turn, tag out with Ulti-Canahawk, bring him out, or even with Ambush, same thing, bring him out, activate effect during end phase, banish something, start your turn, banish something else instead. Basically allows you to, once again, reload your Ulti-Canahawk with having two removed monsters, technically, or even spells or traps. Again, it's a easy way to banish stuff to get yourself reloaded. And then the one Dolphin, of course, for the Thunder Dragon matchup. When I played against Thunder Dragons, this deck had a very easy matchup against that deck. Definitely like one of the key cards you have to play with this deck. Because again, the Thunder Dragons will protect themselves from everything else. This doesn't destroy, it bounces. So I can easily just get rid of something that's a problem. And then continue on with my Ulti-Canahawk plays. Last of the monster lineup, Ash Blossoms. This is the only hand trap that is basically unaffected by D-Fissure or Macrocosmos, because it just says discard this card from hand to negate any of the following effects. So, you know, unlike cards such as like Droll Lockbird or Effect Veiler, that basically say to have to discard this card to the graveyard or send to the graveyard. It has to hit the graveyard in order for it to resolve the effect. So with Ash Blossom, I don't have to worry about that requirement. It automatically is set and good to go for anything that my opponent tries to do, even if I opened up with Macrocosmos. Going into the spells, basically all the one-ofs, Gold Sark, D-Fissure, Upstart, and Emergency Teleport. I am running the Upstart because having a 39 card deck definitely makes for better consistency. As well as, again, 1,000 life points doesn't really matter to me when, again, I'm basically just trying to set up my board. If my opponent does whatever, I do run a side deck card that basically, again, it doesn't matter what my opponent has. I was main decking it. I'm trying something else instead. And again, you guys will see what I'll be running. But these are basically all the one-ups of the spells. Then obviously 2 Call by the Graves and 2 Twin Twisters. Back row removal in this format is definitely a must, especially against decks such as like Salamangreats and basically anything that's going to be running Floodgate cards. Because again, Pendulums, I didn't run into any of my locals. Pendulums fall easy to anti-spell Vagrants. So basically, they play that first turn, I'm done. I can't do anything. I can't do anything after that. Call by the Grave obviously is for the hand traps that might possibly affect my plays, and Twin Twister, back rows, Mystic Mine is definitely a deck obviously now that is seeing a lot more play. It has topped a few big tournaments around the world, so definitely need to run that back row removal in case I ever run into that deck. Into the traps, obviously Steeds, the most broken card of this deck. It helps not only with the removal, but just the mere fact of the wording allows it to miss a lot of timings. So basically, such as, for example, Thunder Dragons. They cannot protect themselves because basically the first part of the card effect is activate if you have a Ritual Beast monster on the field. Then destroy monsters up on the field up to the number of Ritual Beast cards you have. So basically with that wording, again, you can activate this, tag out one of your big guys, like for example, tag out Ulti-Canahawk, get 2, activate Ambush, Chain Ambush. Basically, you can get out 4 monsters, wipe your opponent's field, and again, they cannot activate any cards as far as protections in response to this because it will miss timing again due to the wording. It destroys upon resolution. It doesn't destroy at the very beginning. So again, it definitely helps out with that stuff. Ritual Beast Ambush, I have to run 2 of those. I was running 3 in my original build, I believe, but 3 is definitely too cloggy. It can become a dead draw very easily, so you can only run 2 of this card. No side deck cards or anything else, just run the 2. And then I'm running 2 of There Can Only Be One. This deck runs so many different creatures, such as Psychics, Beasts, Aqua, Thunder. As long as I don't draw any of those, the deck is basically fine. This easily stops your opponents, such as Salamangreats. This is a great card against Salamangreats. They can't do anything else. As soon as they summon their Balanx, you can, or even as soon as they summon their Gazelle, you can activate this, try and stop their plays from there. Or if they're comboing off and they're at their Balanx, and then they summon Gazelle after that for the combo play. Basically, you activate this, they have to send one to grave, and then you can stop their combo from there because they can only have one Cyberse at a time. So they're going to send a Balanx for protection, or they're going to send a Gazelle and leave the Balanx on the field. They have to choose. Then obviously the one Solemn Warning and 2 strikes. Again, that's what the deck is revolving around, is back row stoppage. So even if I dead draw with this deck, I will have ways to either slow down my opponent or punish them for overextending. And then of course the one Macrocosmos, which again, in an ideal world, hopefully you draw into this first turn to punish your opponent from beginning their plays. So again, main deck that we're going to be running into is Salamangreats, summon Gazelle, activate effect for Gazelle, activate Macrocosmos. Now whatever they're going to send to the grave is automatically removed. You automatically stop their combo plays. Going into the extra deck, obviously, extra deck has not changed much. Obviously, the main lineup, 2 of the Lynx, 1 Cannahawk. Really wish this was back at least 2. Would be comfortable, because again, if it gets hit with a Solemn Warning, my consistency is basically shot from there. The 1 Cannahawk, 1 Dolphin, 2 Apelio, 2 Gaiapelio is the main monster lineup you have to do. Basically, everything from here is optional. I believe that the Dolphin is optional between 1 and 2. I only run 1. Again, I rarely will go into that card unless I'm siding in certain cards that you may see within my side deck. Other than that, I do run their 1 Saryuja. A very weird tech, I know, but there are times when I'm going to have like 5 monsters on field that I can easily make this help the consistency on my cards. Draw 4, send 3 to the bottom of my deck. Definitely helps out. 1 Phoenix, obviously, for the back row removal. 1 Abyss Dweller for grave. 1 Castell. Castell definitely helped me out with the Thunder Dragon matchup because, again, it bounces. 1 Lightning Chidori. And those 2 special cards that my deck can easily run. 1 Violet Phoenix, 1 Violet Chimera, and 1 Mudrigan, which you'll see within my side deck why I run these 2. Which is obviously because I run 2 Super Poly. Again, for the Salamangreat matchup, you absolutely have to run this. And even against the Thunder Dragon matchup, you can easily side in the 1 Mudrigan, or even, I believe I do have a Starving Venom Dragon coming in, so he might even take the place of this because Thunder Dragons mostly are all dark. So, Super Poly 2 of their dark monsters, summon out the Starving Venom, and basically beat face from there. To go along with another trap I am playing, 2 Bonds, which basically this card says, banish 2 Ritual Beast monsters on the field to special summon a Ritual Beast monster from my extra deck. So this basically combos with my 2 evenly matched matches that I play. This deck can easily, again, with the amount of field manipulation that I can do, this card basically is a very good removal card for this deck. Because again, you run this with it, your opponent goes into battle phase, they try to attack, you have 2 monsters, you have 2 Ritual Beast monsters, remove them, summon out Dolphin, and then if they can't beat over the Dolphin, go into end phase, obviously activate the evening matches to remove anything that can become a prompt card, and at least they're going to be able to keep 2 cards on the field, possibly, if that. For the Pendulum matchups and for other, for like the Mystic Minds, obviously the Anti-Spell Fragrance, you have to absolutely run 2 of this, because again, with your cards, I'm running a very low spell lineup, so this doesn't affect me at all. whereas it completely affects everything that my opponent will do. So you have to absolutely run 2. Ghost Ogre, just in case I decide to side out the D-Fissure and try and go for more stoppages on my opponent with Destruction. Definitely having 3. I may switch her out for something else. Again, this is still a work in progress for Ritual Beasts. Then I'm doing basically 1 more copies of each for, obviously there can only be 1 Call by the Grave and Twin Twister, depending on the matchup that I'm running into. Obviously if it's Burn, bring in the Twin Twister. If it's more Salamangreats Greats or Hand Trap heavy decks, Call by the Graves. And if I'm running into more Salamangreats Greats, there can only be 1 to slow them down. And then last 2 cards are going to be 2 Dark Holes. Again, that kind of runs into everything. If my opponent makes a big field, just get rid of it or force out the negate, then continue on with my plays. But overall, that is the deck profile, or should I say the deck profile / update for Ritual Beasts. Again, it's a very fun deck to play. You have to have a very big brain in order to play this deck. It's a lot of fun. Very budget friendly, especially nowadays. I believe when I picked up this deck, it was maybe for the entire core, possibly 60, maybe even less than that for the entire core, including extra deck. Everything else I basically just picked up along the way. Again, very fun deck. Main thing you just got to be aware of is who you special summon to when, because each of these cards basically has the stipulation that you can only special summon all of these Ritual Beast monsters and Spiritual Beast monsters once per turn. So you have to be very, very careful with how you're doing your plays with this deck. And again, in case people are wondering, here's a quick rule update for the deck. All of these smaller fusion monsters, they are quick effects, which I have run into a few people that are unaware of the older card text on the card. I completely understand, especially if you're a newer player and you're trying to read through the deck or read through the card to see how it works. The tag out effects are quick effects. I think Konami tried to fix that with this, because it does say the tag out is a quick effect, but it does not say that on these. These are quick effects for the tag outs. So again, they are chainable to anything that your opponent's trying to do. So your opponent targets any of these with a removal or destruction effect, you can chain, have it fizz out, get out 2 more monsters. So for anybody that runs into that issue, that is the official ruling. The tag outs are quick effects. So again, that's how you would do your combo play with Ulti Cannahawk. Target 2 monsters to shuffle back into the graveyard, chain tag out effect, target one of the cards that you already targeted for the effect, plus another one, special summon the 2, put the 1 back into the graveyard, add a card to your hand. That is how the official ruling is. Again, if someone tries to shark you, well, this wording doesn't say this. It says during either player's turn, doesn't say it's a quick effect. It is a quick effect. Any judge that has a brain on it, that has a head on his shoulders, that has played the game long enough, will know that it is a quick effect, and you can technically refer to the Link monster. That's how Konami was trying to say that it is a quick effect, that you can chain it to anything that your opponent tries to do. But other than that, this is the Ritual Beast update / deck profile for the May 2019 format. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this deck basically has, like, any versions of, not just mine, but any versions of the Ritual Beast deck does have a chance with this format nowadays, especially with Orcus running around with the graveyard, Salamangreats Greats, Thunder Dragons, anything like that? Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel for more deck profiles and updates as to thoughts of the current format, any cards coming out. Hopefully within the near future, I will be getting some replays for how I'm playing at my locals. I'm still trying to figure out if it is okay to record at my current locals right now, but we will see. Anyway, this is BB368 signing out.